Okay, today I am going to do an instructional video, and it is of me showing you how to create value using color pencils. So in order to do so, I'm showing you just gradient value from light to dark. I will be using primary colors, the red, the yellow, and the blue. I am going to attempt to show you how to use white as a tint and black as a shade. In doing so, I'm going to use three techniques: hatching, cross-hatching, and simple pressure. And the reason I'm using pressure more so, you can do this with graphite pencils as well, but I think it works really well with color pencils or even watercolor, because the more pressure you put down, the more pigment goes onto the paper, the more pigment, the darker. So I'm going to start with red because I think that red is pretty cool to work with. And then I am going to simply, and this is just going to write here, instructional video. Sorry, of value using colored pencils. Okay, now, so this is what I'm going to do. I'll start just with light pressure. Sorry, that's really too dark. And then go down a little more. As you can see, pressure makes all the difference. And the more I go down, the more I go down, the harder it gets. Now I'll go back over it. This is a little too dark, so I'm going to blend that just a bit so that it kind of gradiates a little more. And I am going to go down. And I'm applying more pressure as I go down. And the harder I press down, I get lighter as I go up, the lighter the application of the pencil. And as I get lower, I press harder so that I see more red and less of the blend of paper. And this is pretty simple using a color pencil. You can see how it gradiates from dark to light as you go up. Now this same technique I'm going to use with blue this time. The same outcome can happen if you use hatching. So I'm going to do a simple hatch, really light, going all the way down. And then I'll start from the bottom and go up as far as I'd like to go. And then I'll start at the bottom again. And only go up as far as you like the gradient to. And each time you start at the bottom, you see the bottom is getting darker because you're starting there again. But the areas that you're not touching, they're staying pretty much the same. And you can go in and lighten that a little, darken that a little bit. Here you go. But do you see? And this is simply hatching. And the more you apply, the darker it gets. Now I'm going to do the same thing with cross hatching. I'm going to show you something with hatching first. You can do a hatch just from a single point. And I'm using yellow. Yellow's so light. Let's use blue again. You can get the same look, but you're starting at the same point. And if you notice, wherever you start, as I mentioned earlier, as you go out, you'll see this fans out, but the area that you're touching first is always going to be your darkest. And I don't care how far you go out, that's going to be, this area will be your lightest. So it's a great way to kind of highlight a corner or an area from the bottom even, so that you can show that the shading is there and go out. And this fan technique I love. It's one of the first hatching techniques I was taught, and I love it. And then I'm going to also show you with yellow this time, only because I'm trying to stay with the primary colors. I'm going to show you how to create the same value scale, so to speak, using cross hatching instead of simple hatching. Now I'm going to go to the bottom again, and it will do the exact same thing. And it doesn't matter what paper you use, you will have the same outcome as far as value. And the closer you are, the closer the strokes are, the lighter, the darker, I'm sorry, the value. And it doesn't matter the pressure. This isn't about pressure. This is about the closer strokes, okay? So I hope this has been helpful in helping you determine how to go about creating value using colored pencils.